Welcome to the Backdoor Fantasy Sports Podcast with Russo and Jordy.
All right, guys, week 4 is in the books and we've got so much to talk about and we don't have like a whole lot of time to talk about it today. So we're going to try to keep things really moving with our recap, but there's a lot to discuss about waivers. And this is our fantasy football show. We have a picks show that we do for every football slate. We're prepping up for basketball. Once NBA comes, our picks show will be covering basketball as well. But we're talking fantasy football in this show. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, give us a like, drop us a comment, let us know how your week went. We've got all sorts of like injuries to talk about and players who are emerging. It's a wild week for waivers. There's trade rumors. There's all sorts of stuff going on. We want to cover it all. We have about an hour to get this one done today, unfortunately, because I've got like a lot going on today. But before we do, we'll quickly talk about our partners. We've partnered up with Underdog, who we love. They just continue to make this platform better and better. They're honestly probably my favorite platform right now, and that's just being honest with you. Obviously, like we have reasons to want to like talk well about our partners, but I'm just saying like we're transparent about it. Like we've talked about Chalkboard being the king of alt lines for DFS and stuff. And so like we're real about like the platforms we prefer, but Underdog has just been doing a really good job. If you look at what that platform looked like last year compared to this year, it's night and day. So yeah, if you guys want to play some DFS, I've been loving the best ball tournaments that I've been a part of on Underdog. They actually have mid-season best ball tournaments. They have some drafts coming up here. I believe in just like, I want to say in like a week or two that you can sign up for now. And you draft best ball and you play against other people in their tournament style. So it's like you work your way up and then there's big prizes in these tournaments. And then they also have their pick'em lobby, pick'em like classic pick'em or pick'em champions if you're in a state that doesn't allow the classic pick'em. But they're giving you up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a free pick, and they continue to drop promos every day. So if you enjoy playing DFS, use code BACKDOOR and they will hook you up with that $1,000 in bonus cash with your first deposit, and they'll give you a free pick. They just dropped the promo today. They're doing these boosts now too, where you can boost any slip you want instead of like making, some lines much higher to get your multiplier up. You can just make a regular one and then boost it like 30%. I had one for 50% the other day. It's really cool. They've got one today that they're pushing, which is a 31% boost on WNBA slips. So definitely take advantage of that. And then we're also partners with Sleeper, because Sleeper is just the way they integrated their sleeper picks into the app is so cool. Like you'll notice like if you're playing fantasy football, hopefully you're playing on Sleeper because it's the best platform by far. But when you are like looking at your players on just regular fantasy football, you'll see those little highlighted projections. And the fact that you can just click those projections, if you see something you like while you're setting your lineup, you can click that projection and make a sleeper pick real fast. It's really cool. Both of these platforms have plays as low as $1. So if you want to jump on Sleeper, which is also doing alt lines like Underdog, like Chalkboard, just use code BACKDOORFS. Just drop, add the FS on the end of the code BACKDOOR, and they will give you 100% deposit match up to $100. So just wanted to shout out our two partners there. They're super cool. We love working with those guys. So take advantage of that. There's a link in the description for both of those. Let's dive into this recap. All right, man. Okay, a lot to cover. All right, so Saints Falcons. Falcons end up getting this done 26-24. Let's see. I'm going to jump into this box score real quick. Kamara got his heavy usage once again. Taysom Hill snagging 2 touchdowns too. It's so tough with Taysom. Like he's so fun to be able to play at tight end for fantasy. It's just, without those 2 touchdowns, 6 carries for 24 yards. And I mean, like if you could count on at least a like regular goal line looks every week, then great, but you just can't. So great week for him. He actually obviously cut into Kamara's workload. Kamara, 19 carries, 77 yards and a touchdown. Could have had more than that if Taysom didn't like snake some of those.
Yeah.
Then on the opposite side of the ball, do not panic on Bijan Robinson. I know he got out carried by Tyler Algier, but Bijan had a yeah. It's like, I know everyone's like panicking because it's like you're having flashbacks of the Arthur Smith offense and stuff. Don't panic, in my opinion, about that. Bijan had like he was added to the injury report late, I think on like Thursday, and he was able to get in good enough shape to be fine and start the game. But I know that they're just managing his workload, dealing with this injury. And you'll notice like this is like a common theme across all teams this year. We saw a little bit last night with Sam Laporta. They limited his workload a little bit. We saw the game before that with Jamison Williams. So don't panic on this. I think Bijan will be back to his heavy workload next week. Anything else to cover here? Chris Olave had a good game. He's been really showing up. 8 receptions, 87 yards. Rashid Shaheed bounced back, 8 receptions, 83 yards.
Yeah, I think someone finally threw a bucket of cold water on Derek Carr. He finally calmed down and stopped going for 40 points a game. But the Falcons look good. They do. They've arrived.
Yeah. Yeah, the Falcons are one of those teams like you don't want to be in a close game with them.
Yeah.
They find a way to win.
I felt like I was watching the same player on both teams. Derek Carr and Kirk Cousins are both just like at that point in their career where they're those old head white dudes, Christian pastor type figures just throwing dots. But yeah, it was a good game. Really good game.
It was. Kyle Pitts puts up the goose egg.
Of course.
And it's so easy to just be like, this is what we expected from Kyle Pitts. This is what it's going to be like. But you know what? There still is a reality where this team continues to get into motion and get things rolling. And I wouldn't be surprised if he becomes more consistent as the season goes on. But it's going to be hard to make decisions because
there's two things I know on Monday morning when I wake up. Water's wet and Kyle Pitts sucks at catching footballs.
I mean, how many did he get targeted? He got 3 targets, 0 catches. Okay. But yeah, this was like a little bit different of a game plan for them with especially it's like managing Bijan's workload a little bit. Tyler Algier is a great running back, so it's easy for them to just kind of like balance that workload out with Bijan dealing with a little bit of a mild injury. But I don't know how that affects the approach for the Falcons as far as targeting tight ends. But it's going to be a bumpy ride. But I'm not saying like he's going to be fine. I'm just saying you're going to get some of this, and it doesn't mean that he's for sure just going to be doing this all year. Right. I'm trying to take that approach on everything fantasy is like, we still are learning about what these teams are looking like. We still have guys that are figuring things out on offense and whatnot. So,
all right, look at Miami. Jeez,
man.
We'll get into that.
Oof, yeah. Okay. Bears, Rams. Bears end up taking this game 24-18.
It's shocking.
Yeah. Wow. And of all people, DeAndre Swift goes and has a game. 16 carries, 93 yards. Did not look good at the beginning of that game. We were really high on hoping that Roshan Johnson would have another opportunity to prove that he should be the back. He did get more involved. It looks like he's maybe taken that RB2 role. But yeah, DeAndre Swift, 16 carries, 93 yards, a touchdown, 7 receptions, 72 yards. He went 7 of 7.
Remember when I was going to take his receptions at 1.5?
Oh yeah. And, oh my God. I was just like, bro, don't take the bait.
It's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, let's see. How'd Caleb do? 17 of 23, 157 and a touchdown. Yeah, I got to shout out Jordy here. He called out Tutu Atwell a while ago, and I was like really slow to come around to that. But it doesn't take much with Tutu. Again, he had 6 targets, but 4 receptions for 82 yards. They're very important receptions. Like, you don't need him to go for 8 or 9 targets a game to be relevant and to be flex worthy.
He's like a George Pickens for them. It's like he can get you almost 100 yards on 5 catches. So that's what I like about him a lot. He's just really, really fast too. And him and Stafford have that timing That's why I picked him out of the receiver bunch right now, because if you look at all the names, the only person he's got rapport with is Tutu. So it makes sense that they kind of got the timing down.
Yeah, Jordan Whittington did get a heavier workload this week, 8 targets, 6 receptions, 62 yards, but he is doing that sort of like short pass type stuff as where Tutu's so fast.
Yeah,
he's their burner. Let's see, Kyron, another heavy workload, 19 carries, 94 yards and a touchdown. Blake Corum, remember all that talk? Like everybody's just like panic selling Kyron before the year started and rating him, his ADP was dropping, but Ronnie Rivers was the RB2, 6 carries, 26 yards. Yeah, not a whole lot to discuss.
Yeah, it was more of a Bears defensive win, I think.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's keep it rolling.
Enjoy sports betting and daily fantasy? Well, Daily Grind is here to help you beat the books. They make premium DFS tools that do all the work for you, comparing lines across just about every platform, looking for discrepancies for you to take advantage of. Start off your research with their DFS Optimizer, a tool that finds all the best plays and rates them with their odds to hit indicator. Or if you'd rather have them make your entire slip for you, they have you covered with their AI slip generator. They'll even notify you when a new slip is available. Go to dgfantasy.com and use code BACKDOOR. They will give you 25% off your first subscription all the way up to a year if you want. That's dgfantasy.com, code BACKDOOR.
Vikings, Packers. This one was, wow, what a game this was.
Yeah.
Jordan Love. My gosh, he is so good. A little bit of a bumpy start, and they got down quite a bit in this game, but Sam Darnold is just an every week starter at this point. I only say that because there's a lot of people in our different leagues that are like, oh man, I might start starting Sam Darnold. It's like, yeah, you can count on it. It's like, he's got a solid floor. He went for 20 for 28, 275 yards, 3 touchdowns and an interception. Jordan Love, 32 of 54, 389 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And we got to talk about, Jaden Reed, we know what he's capable of. What a game he had. 8 targets, 7 receptions, 139 yards and a touchdown. But Dontavian Wicks seems like he's emerging. 13 targets, 5 receptions, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns. And I don't think we've seen the best of Dontavian Wicks yet. He's definitely going to be a waiver wire target because this dude is so athletic and so talented. He had like a bumpy start in that first game with Jordan when everybody was struggling to play on that grass in Sao Paulo, Brazil. But Dontavian Wicks, I know a lot of you already know this, but that's someone to keep on your radar, especially for Dynasty. Yeah. This dude's going to emerge.
He just turned 23. And he's like 6'2", big body receiver. Dude looks really, really good. I think a lot of the interception stuff was just Jordan Love shaking off the cobwebs. And it's a really tough defense. I think the Vikings might be the best, one of the top 3 defenses in the league, honestly. So to see them even come back and have a chance to win that game was wild. That was a great game.
Yeah, so good.
They were getting torched in the beginning. I mean, it was like what 21 to nothing or something. Like,
yeah,
it was rough.
It forced Jordan Love to get a little bit reckless playing catch up.
Yeah,
that dude almost went for 400 yards. Like,
dude, my dad's like, he's a lifelong Packers fan. He's like, he's Brett Favre. He's like, he's just a gunslinger. I was like, that's a good comparison. It really is.
He is, and he's got wheels, and like he's so the truth. Good decision maker, like can make these ridiculous passes, like off balance, like while running. Like he's been so underrated. As much hype as people had about him, he is just well deserving of that fat contract that he got.
Absolutely,
in my opinion.
I think Tucker Kraft's becoming a valuable fantasy piece too, though. Oh,
absolutely. Yeah, 9 targets, 6 receptions, 53 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Tucker Kraft just seems to, like mentally, because both of these tight ends they have there are like good, athletic, big, tight ends, but Tucker Kraft just seems to have more of the mental game down.
Yeah.
Musgrave, 3 targets, 3 receptions, 13 yards.
It was
But
a
Tucker
great
Kraft,
game script too, mind you. So all these targets, you're not going to get that every week because they were pulling themselves out of the
yeah,
fire. But it was a really good display of how talented their receiving core is.
yeah. You mean Jordan Love's not going to have 54 pass attempts every week?
I would hope not.
Yeah.
Or else he might be on IR a lot more.
Yeah. So Dontavian Wicks, in my opinion, is going to turn into what everyone thought Christian Watson could be. That's just my opinion. But all right, Steelers, Colts. Colts end up winning this one 27-24. Anthony Richardson, I thought about sitting him this week. Didn't like the matchup. I was like even considering Andy Dalton on my dynasty. In my dynasty team, I've got Andy Dalton, I've got Baker Mayfield, and I've got Joe Flacco because I knew Joe Flacco, if anything happened to AR, I know Joe Flacco is going to be a solid replacement. So I'm like, okay, that's like my insurance plan. Like if nothing else, I can always just have Joe Flacco ready to go. But Anthony Richardson, it was rough, man. I don't know what they were doing. We saw him going down, holding his hip, and then we were like, "Oh no, he looks like he's in a lot of pain." And then the very next play, they have a designed run for him, and then he's out. And
It
we
felt
were
like a hit job, man. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, it's like Shane Steichen's just like, we got to get Flacco in there somehow. But
He's
like,
a dealer.
yeah, Anthony Richardson went 3 of 4, 71 yards. 3 rushing attempts for 24 yards. I'm going to be surprised if Richardson bounces back enough to play, but it looked like he did want to play. It looked like he was frustrated, but I don't know. We'll have to just monitor this, but there's plenty of options if you lost Anthony Richardson. And I don't know, man, I might just want to start someone else this next week anyways, but they do have Jacksonville next, so that might be a juicy matchup. We'll have to just monitor that. Jonathan Taylor getting his typical workload, but he did get hurt, got mild. I think it's a low ankle sprain.
Jeez, man. Colts just got beat up.
Yeah, high ankle sprain.
Yeah.
They said he won't need short-term IR, but he's probably going to miss a couple games, I would imagine. So definitely want to go grab Trey Sermon off the waivers. He'll be the next man up.
I mean, hey, this is a good thing for Michael Pittman owners because Joe Flacco, that's the perfect type of guy for him. He's going to be targeting him like crazy. That's going to be a wide receiver 1 from here on out with Flacco at the helm. So
yeah, and Josh Downs. This is going to go very pass heavy if Flacco's at the helm, and it's going to look beautiful in my opinion. It sucks that Jonathan Taylor got hurt because it would be great for him too. Not like necessarily pass catching, but just opening up that run game, moving the ball down the field regularly. They had no problem putting points on the board against the Steelers, which was pretty impressive. So yeah, Pittman, 9 targets, 6 receptions, 113 yards. Josh Downs, 9 targets, 8 receptions, 82 yards, and a touchdown. They were giving Downs a lot of looks at in the red zone, which was pretty sweet.
Hey, you want to hear something funny?
What's that?
Justin Fields, 10 carries, 55 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Cordell Patterson, 6 rush attempts for 43 yards. Najee Harris, 13 attempts for 19 yards. Just in case you don't believe me, every week when I spew my Najee Harris hatred, this is why. The dude averages 1.5 yards per carry when he can't get a hole the size of the Empire State Building on the offensive line. And he's got a trailer hook to him, man. The guy is so slow. So you got Cordell Patterson, who's like 55 years old out there making a splash play on, I mean, even one of the, Najee Harris like flipped off one of the Colts defenders and he called him soft and said that 84 was faster. I was like, hey man, I've been saying it for weeks, but anyway, yeah, good game. You know,
Najee doing Najee things.
1.5
a carry. George Pickens, 11 targets, 7 receptions, 113 yards. Pat Fryermuth got more involved. 7 targets, 5 receptions, 57 yards, and a touchdown.
Those 2 are the pieces to have out of the receiving offense for the Steelers.
Yeah, Calvin Austin not very involved. I'm still holding him in Dynasty because I believe in the talent, and we saw that one game where he popped off. So for Dynasty, I have a deep bench, so I'm just kind of hanging on to him for a little bit. All right, let's keep it rolling. What's next? Broncos beat the Jets. My God.
Hey,
Dude.
called it.
Yeah, this was Jordy's hot take, and
Yes,
I
it
was
was.
like, I couldn't believe it. I was just, yeah. If you saw the episode, I was like, okay, this is where Jordy's hot take streak ends.
It's the type of game I thought it would be. The Broncos defense is really, really, really good.
It's
Like, yeah,
maybe the best. Like they're
Yeah.
up there with the Steelers, and we've been sleeping on how good they actually are on defense because Bo Nix had 12 completions for 60 yards, and they won this game.
Yeah. Yeah, 12 for 25. I mean, he's not playing great. Cortland Sutton, 3 receptions for 60 yards. He led them in receiving. The next person up in receiving was Javonte Williams with 3 receiving yards. So it was literally all Cortland Sutton. And then it was just Javonte Williams rushing the ball. Jaleel McLaughlin running the ball. He fumbled it again. The dude's got the fumble bug, man. I mean, it is just crazy.
Did he actually fumble? Because I thought,
did it get called back? Maybe.
I don't know. I thought that he had a fumble, and then I realized it was Tyler Bidet, who we've been calling Beatty.
Yeah, Batty.
Yeah, Batty or Beatty.
Yeah,
it's Bidet.
I feel like I remember that from at one point. But one thing I wanted to bring up about this game, because yes, the Broncos did win. I did call that. But what's crazy to me is Breece Hall owners better start panicking, because Braylon Allen is looking like the truth. He's 20 years old. He's so freaking good. Like, it's a committee now. Like, it's
turning into a timeshare for sure. He had more carries. Well, no, he had less
2 less carries, but Breece Hall
30
had
more yards.
10 carries for 4 yards. And Braylon Allen had 8 carries for 34 yards, averaging 4.2 yards per attempt. And, you know, it's like in the receiving game, he had 1 reception for 12 yards. Breece had 2 receptions for 14. Like, the kid's looking very dynamic and very special. And Aaron Rodgers is all over this guy, too. He's, like, talking him up. Like, if he throws the ball his way, he's going to catch it. So, I don't know. It's it's interesting.
Braylon, if you got some Braylon in Dynasty, you got to be so happy right now.
Yeah. Another reason why you got to get your handcuffs, man. You never know when they're going to take over the job. I've been holding on to Tank Bigsby forever, and that's turning into the same situation over there in Jacksonville.
Yeah, you held him all last year when it was just looking so grim, and he looks really good this year. So Breece Hall, that's wild. Like, I was in one of my leagues, I had Breece Hall and Devon Achane, and they combined for less than 10 points.
Yeah.
Which I was just like, who knew that those two were the ones to bench this week? Which you're never benching those guys, but
yeah, it's rough.
But yeah, wow, not a good look to lose at home to Denver, who had their quarterback pass for 60 yards.
Yeah, and Aaron Rodgers on the McAfee show ripped this game off as like a nothing. He was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna have these 2 wins, and people were overreacting to our week 1 loss." And I'm like, "Okay, Broncos defense is very scary."
Yeah, no joke, bro. We got Eagles getting stomped by the Buccaneers, 33-16.
Those Eagles were not flying the other day.
No, Baker, who it was just devastating, who I could have started over Anthony Richardson in my Dynasty League, and I was just watching him go for all these points. 30 for 47 and 347 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. And I double checked that it was Bidet. It wasn't McLaughlin that got the fumble.
Okay.
So that's why he kept getting play. But yeah, that's rough for Bidet, who was undrafted free agent hoping to work his way into a spot. Bucky Irving and Rashad White, both with 10 carries, both with 49 yards. That's hilarious. And except for Bucky got the touchdown. Mike Evans popping off 8 receptions, 94 yards and a touchdown on 14 targets. Dang, he got heavily targeted in this game.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I don't even know. This is just a straight up slaughter. Like, they got Mike Evans going nice and early. He got the touchdown on Tampa Bay's side. You know, we had this whole nice little friendly competition feud going on between Baker Mayfield and Tom Brady. So I think Baker was trying to show out a little bit. And he played great, man. 30 for 47, 347 yards, 2 touchdowns. Dude was balling. He ran a touchdown in as well. The team is rolling. I mean, they look really, really good. Obviously, they took that random L last week, but I think they righted the ship for sure. And Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are just like an every week start. Honestly, like I didn't start Mike Evans this week or Brandon Ayuk, but I was kind of
you got a very rare situation with like just freaking gold star wide receivers. He's got like 6 of them.
Yeah, I got Nico Collins and Deontay Johnson. I could not stomach to start Brandon Ayuk or Mike Evans over Deontay Johnson. It really wouldn't have mattered. Deontay or Mike Evans would have been fine, but Deontay's usage, man, is just crazy right now. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but yeah, I think the Eagles, they look really, really flat without their 2 wide receivers. They really need them back. Dallas Goedert got all the targets. I just dropped Jahan Dotson in our fantasy league, in our dynasty league. It's time. He's gone. I've held him in long enough. He's hurt me too many times. But yeah, it's just, man, Jalen Hurts looked really bad. All things said, I know that he doesn't have his 2 stud wide receivers and everything, but man, look at someone like Andy Dalton. The dude's making a mountain out of a molehill, you know? Like, I think Xavier Legette and Deontay Johnson are very, very good, but it's just, you got to find someone to throw to. That's not Dallas Goedert.
And I don't understand this. You got Saquon Barkley averaging 8.4 yards a carry in this game, and he has 10 carries.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I get it. You're playing from behind, but Saquon should have had...
The Seahawks were playing from behind last night. Did they stop feeding Kenneth Walker? No.
Against arguably the best run defense in the game.
Yeah.
And so I just don't understand the Saquon usage in this situation. 4 targets, 10 carries. Like, he should have had 20 plus carries, in my opinion, and like 6-7 targets at least. Make it all about Saquon. Goddard ended up, he had a little bit of a slow start, but ended up getting 8 targets, 7 receptions, 62 yards. Yeah, not a whole lot to say about that performance other than, like, I mean, the Bucks came out hot, got ahead.
It was just
pretty
a dominant one, and they had so many sacks in that game. What they sacked him like 8 times or something. Like,
I think it was a lot.
It was a lot, yeah.
All right, so Bengals, Panthers. Bengals end up getting the win here. Pretty exciting game. Yeah. Joe Burrow, 22 of 31 for 232 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Andy Dalton, 25 of 40, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Pretty similar lines there. Let's see. Chuba Hubbard, probably the last week of him getting a heavy workload with Jonathan Brooks coming back, but we'll see. It'll probably be like a committee for a little bit there.
The thing I was most excited to see in this game was Xavier Legette's usage. That kid is going to be a startable piece because they're getting him. They know that he's going to be their Deebo Samuel. Like, they're getting him involved in the run game now. They've got him super involved in the passing game because Andy Dalton can get him the ball. He looks super, super good. And Deebo Samuel is like his mentor and who he's always tried to model his game after. So it looks really fun to have him.
That is a big man. Yeah, that dude is big and he's fast. He's like, he's like I don't know. I think that, I mean, 10 targets, 6 receptions, 66 yards and a touchdown. Andy Dalton, the switch to Andy Dalton was it was just the best thing that Dave Canales did, making the switch early. Even though they lost this game, things are looking up. For them. So is Bryce Young like the QB3 now? Is he like Johnny Hecker? Maybe he's not even a quarterback. Maybe it was just like a trick play.
No, that's the punter.
Oh, okay. He just threw a fake one. Okay. I was like, who's this Hecker guy? Okay. And then we had Jamar Chase doing Jamar Chase things, just 3 receptions, 85 yards and a touchdown, though. He had that one big play. Quiet game for Yoshivas, who I'm pretty high on. I think that kid just looks like he's going to be really good, especially next year. If you don't have him in Dynasty and he's available, go get him because
he got blasted, though.
Yeah.
He caught that insanely deep ball and he got nuked on it. So he kind of hobbled to the sideline. He never looked the same after that, but he'll be all right.
I'm super, super high on this kid though, because he's he's got like a great build. He kind of has a build similar to Jamison Williams, like, but just like a little bit thicker, but he just runs. He's like such a clean route runner. He's a good contested catch. He's tall.
Yeah, he's 6'4", 205, big dude.
Yeah, and then I don't think T. Higgins is going to be there next year, so Yoshivas is going to jump right into that number 2 spot, in my opinion.
Yep.
All right, so yeah, let's see.
Let's talk about why you should be using Chalkboard, the daily fantasy platform that runs specials every day of the week. Build plays for as low as $1 and enjoy the wide variety of alt lines. The higher the line, the higher the payout. It's that simple. Once you've made your picks, you can go whole hog with their max cash option or insure yourself with their shield play option. Download Chalkboard on your Apple or Android device and use code BACKDOOR for a 100% deposit match.
Well, all right. So next up, Jaguars versus Texans. Jaguars actually looked good in this game.
Yep.
Close game, not the stomping that I was expecting. The Jaguars came out and led the game at the beginning. Trevor Lawrence, 18 for 33, 169 yards, 2 touchdowns. Let's see. CJ Stroud, 27 of 40, 345 yards, 2 touchdowns. Stroud's so good.
Yeah, it is.
Let's see. Tank Bigsby, 7 carries, 90 yards, 12.9 a carry.
Yeah.
Travis Etienne, 11 carries, 50 yards, 4.5. He's taking over, man.
Yeah, for some reason Bigsby's on your guys' waiver wire. You got to go pick him up. He's coming up.
Or even like a buy low in Dynasty, which isn't going to be super low. It's not going to be as low as it was a couple weeks ago or preseason, but I would still go get him.
Yeah.
Because the writing's on the wall. He just looks so good this year. Every time he touches the ball, it's like, why is ETN getting more touches still? Because Tank is giving them juice. Let's see.
Nico Collins is probably the number 1 receiver in the NFL right now.
Wow. Yeah. 12 of 15, 151 yards and a touchdown. Awesome outing for him. Pretty stoked about just the every week reliable usage for Brian Thomas Jr., who I drafted with my first pick. I think I was at the 7 spot in our Dynasty rookie draft, and I'm so I couldn't be happier. I mean, like, yeah, it could be like a Malik Neighbors type start to the season, but that's, if that was in the cards, he would have been drafted a lot higher than the 7 spot. But I'm super happy. 9 targets, 6 receptions, 86 yards and a touchdown. Christian Kirk doing, like, these two work well together. Christian Kirk, I expect him to get more targets week in, week out, but it's like different style of targets. So 7 receptions on 12 targets, 61 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, he's like their Cooper Kupp, whereas like, it feels like Brian Thomas is like the Puka Nacua. I'm just using them as an example of like a duo wide receiver core where one is kind of the PPR machine and then one is like your big play guy, and Brian Thomas is definitely the big play guy. For
sure. Cam Akers, 13 carries, 53 yards, 4.1 a carry, which isn't too bad.
No, it's not horrible. He just did his job.
Yeah. All right. We're going to keep moving because we want to get to waivers here. And unfortunately, I got to wrap up somewhat soon. Commanders Cardinals. Yeah, I'm super excited to talk about this one. Cardinals looked awful. If you're new to the channel, we're actually both originally from Arizona. I have actually a little bit of loyalty to my state, so I'm diehard.
You know what, man? You had to call me out like that.
Jordy's
I love the Cardinals, but I am like a diehard Cowboys fan. I've liked them for quite a while now, but I didn't really, like, when I grew up, I didn't watch too much football. I really got into it later on in my life, like in my early teenage years. So I kind of gravitated towards the Cowboys immediately. Whereas like, if I would have probably watched football growing up, I would have been like I was like a Saints fan as like a kid. I remember the 2009 Super Bowl and all that, but I kind of gravitated towards the Cowboys, but Russo obviously had a lot longer of a life out there in Arizona than I did.
Yeah. And I mean, I also like I went through a stage kind of like with basketball when I was younger, where it's just like whoever has the coolest looking jersey. Like it's like when I was super young, it's like, oh, I love the Charlotte Hornets just because they had like a hornet on it.
That was me with the Saints. I loved the gold and black. I was like, this is sick. And I loved Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush was like my savior back then. I was like, oh my God, this guy's dope. But
well, let's talk about it. Jaden Daniels looking like rookie of the year. Just this dude is so good, and it just irks me because your brother has him in Dynasty,
and he won't shut the hell up about it.
No, and I just wanted I wanted it to be like I wanted Anthony Richardson, who I went all in on last year. I wanted Anthony Richardson to have his year, and I wanted Jaden Daniels to have to like take a couple years to break out. And it's Jaden Daniels looks like the truth so much. Like it looks like definitively like he was the guy to draft number one overall by far. 26 of 30, another insane. Like this offense looks insane right now. 233 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception.
Dude,
and
this is a Cliff Kingsbury revenge game. That dude was pulling out some of the craziest plays I've ever seen in my life.
And honestly, like it's becoming pretty clear that like I especially had like a lot of trash to talk about Cliff because of everything that went down. But that was also, I'm talking about back when he was the coach of the Cardinals, but that was also like Kyler was having like attitude problems and stuff, but Cliff couldn't right the ship. And sometimes you just got guys, we talk about it all the time. You got guys who are like, Cliff is much better just being an offensive coordinator, just focusing on the offense. He'll probably get a head coaching offer after this year if they keep this up.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you got to credit Jaden Daniels, and you have to credit Cliff Kingsbury because he is like, his offensive approach, it's like, okay, this is what they thought Cliff was going to be able to do when he entered the league with the Cardinals. And now he is getting, some validation here of like, that dude has got a playbook, bro. Like,
I love their situation because Dan Quinn is a good head coach when it comes to him just running the defense and being a coach, like the head coach, where he calls the timeouts and controls the game. But Cliff, like him having a pivotal piece like that as the OC, it looks great. I love Dan Quinn. I miss him a lot with the Cowboys. Zimmer, is kind of getting things rolling, but man, Dan Quinn's a G, man. I never have anything bad to say about him.
Yep. I agree. And so, I mean, on the opposite side, Kyler Murray, very rough outing, 22 attempts in a game that you're down by this much, 16 completions, 142 yards and a touchdown. James Conner had another good James Conner game. We knew that he was going to bounce back. We took him in our picks show, 18 carries, 104 yards and a touchdown. Trey Benson he didn't get that much involvement. A lot of it, like when the game was over and there was like 4 minutes left, and the Cardinals went in there. It's like, okay, if you're going to just hand the ball off to Trey Benson every game and not even take an opportunity here to work on some plays, maybe you just don't want any more embarrassment at home. But it's like every single play was just like, it was like 4 or 5 straight plays, just hand it to Trey Benson. It's like, well, don't have Kyler in there then. But I'm also just being a salty Cardinals fan right now. I expected
they could have done a lot better. They gave up early in that game. It felt like the Cardinals' wind just got knocked out of their sails and they just kind of fell on their face.
Dude, I think they were frustrated. Like this offense, this Jaden Daniels, Cliff Kingsbury offense is frustrating their opponents. Like, because it's like they're not being stopped. And I know it's early still, but I will say I was kind of bummed. I thought this was a good opportunity for Michael Wilson. I started him over Jordan Addison, started him over Brian Thomas Jr. In hindsight, I want to slap myself in the face, but like, it was just because I thought this was like the perfect matchup. I thought that, I thought that all the attention would be on Marvin Harrison Jr. I was like, this is going to be a sneaky breakout. And sometimes you just start to get that little itch, and like, I was getting impulsive.
Gotcha.
But he did have 7 targets. He led the team in targets, 3 receptions, 38 yards.
I think he had a drop or 2 in there too.
He did.
Yeah.
He had plenty of opportunities, and he dropped the ball a bunch. I'm like, dang, man, he has to clean that up, because I do believe in the kid. But let's see. Yeah, so Terry McLaurin, things are looking good for Washington.
Yeah.
We will be talking about Jeremy Nichols, who you guys need to go get on waivers, because Austin Eckler will be back, but Jeremy Nichols looked really good. 8.5 yards a carry, 8 carries, 68 yards, 2 touchdowns. He looked really good. Like he looked more explosive than Brian Robinson Jr.
Like, damn.
All right, we'll keep it rolling, and I apologize, but I'm gonna have to get through the rest of these pretty quick so we can get to waivers. Patriots 49ers, more of what we expected.
Yeah, that was expected.
Don't even need to go too deep into this. Like, we had a healthy Kittle who looked great, healthy Debo. But I like at the end there that they got Jawan Jennings involved, because I think he does need this is turning into a tricky situation where I think Brandon Ayuk will be fine, but we're seeing how much of a struggle it's been for everybody who held out for contract reasons.
I'm just thinking of that Tyron or that Kadarius Toney thing he shared.
Yeah. Like, I think they'll figure things out, but Brandon Ayuk does not look in season form.
Yeah, it's gonna take him a couple weeks. I expect by like week 8 he'll kind of start to look like himself again. But that's what happens when you don't practice, man.
Yeah, and we've seen that from a lot of guys that have held out. Patriots. I don't want to spend too much time on this one. Patriots
get Drake May in there. I've seen enough.
Yeah, and their O-line still struggling, but I understand too how you don't want to just throw a rookie in there in a bad situation and kill his confidence early. So I'm kind of just like, however they want to proceed with slowly getting Drake May in there. It feels a little early. When he came in that game against the Jets, he was just getting pummeled, and he had no time in the pocket. And it was just like, if this is what you're going to throw him into, this is not good for a rookie either.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, however that has to play out, but Patriots are in major rebuild. They've got so much work to do. Browns, Raiders pull this one off 20-16. And Trey Tucker, we definitely want to go get him this week, in my opinion. I think because I don't know how much longer Devontae Adams is going to be out, but 6 targets, very efficient on those, 5 receptions, 41 yards. They gave him a rush. I think they're going to be continuing. They gave Brock Bowers a run play. That's awesome.
Dude, Zamir White, 17 carries for 50 yards. Alexander Madison, 5 carries for 60 yards. Zamir White is not the truth, ladies and gentlemen. He is, in fact, the dumpster. Yeah,
we were right about that one early on. So Jerry Jeudy, fitting in great. 9 targets, 6 receptions, 72 yards. Amari Cooper, this has been rough. I don't know if it's just the types of balls he's getting, but like 8.
I don't know, man. He had drops. He's leading the league in drops right now. And he had some beautiful passes, hit him literally in the face mask. So I just don't know. He's just looking like he doesn't even want to be there.
Yeah. It's tricky, like Amari Cooper, that's a tricky one, because I mean, if you have him in Dynasty, you kind of just got to ride this out, because this is not the time to try to sell him
right now.
No. But yeah, his catch percentage has been pretty unusual. Jerome Ford, 7 for 7, only 27 yards, but getting pretty involved in the pass game.
It's good for PPR.
Yeah, absolutely. This might be a time to go sneakily get some Alexander Madison, who didn't have a monster game, but I I mean, it looks like that's at least turned into an ambiguous backfield where he could just become the one. Yeah, gosh, 5 carries and you get more yards than Zamir White on 17 carries. He's way more versatile. He actually looks pretty decent out there as far as like athleticism. All right, let's keep rolling. What's next?
Chiefs Chargers, I think.
Chiefs Chargers. Kareem Hunt time.
Yeah, he's back.
He is. He looked good. All right, so yeah, Pat Mahomes, 19 of 29, 245 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. This is what's yeah. Oh man.
Took out Rashid, man.
When you were saying that, I was like, what is he talking about? He just threw him into a bad situation, and then I saw the replay and I'm like, oh my God, he literally took him out.
Trucked him. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what's wild to me is the Chiefs are 4-0, and you even Mahomes talks about like they've got so much to clean up on offense. Like they're not even in form of what this offense is going to look like. And I don't care if they go get a wide receiver. The Chiefs are so good. They're going to figure this out.
Yeah.
Like Mahomes can make any wide receiver relevant. He can find a way to just get his team to win. And if they're finding ways to win at this part of the season before they're even like clicking on as an offense, dude,
yeah.
It's wild.
The talk of the town is that Amari Cooper is super unhappy in Cleveland, and that that's their main trade target. But who knows how much truth there is to that? But that's just like the report I've been seeing a lot from like NFL insiders. But we'll see. Okay. I mean, I think Kareem Hunt. I mean, this is one positive to Rashee Rice going down. All the Kelsey owners are rejoicing because he finally broke out and had a game. So, and
I think he's good to go now. Yeah. I think that he's going to be back. They're going to have to just start going to the classic. Yep. Kelsey, it'll be Kelsey, Xavier Worthy. But yeah, Kareem Hunt, man, 14 carries, 69 yards, 4.9 a carry, and then got involved in the pass game. Yeah, 2 for 16. And this is just like his first, like, I think Kareem Hunt is going to be a steal. Yep. At this point. Let's see, J.K. Dobbins, rough outing. That's a tough defense to run against, though.
Yeah, very.
Lad McConkey had a good game. 5 receptions, 67 yards, and that touchdown he grabbed. Lad McConkey's good, man.
Yeah, he is.
That dude is good.
Very slick.
Yeah, Quentin Johnston, back to his normal self, 5 targets, 1 reception, 9 yards.
Don't do him like that. He'll be all right.
Yeah. I mean, we said it was going to be spiky with him.
Chiefs D is tough, really tough.
Yeah. All right, let's keep it rolling.
I believe we're on to the Bills-Ravens night game.
Bills-Ravens. Wow.
Yeah.
The Ravens looked really good.
King Henry, baby.
Jeez. 24 carries for Henry, 199 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, one point we've been making too is I think Justice Hill is a solid flex option, like week in and week out.
RB2 even. Yeah. RB2 flex every week.
His receiving game is so crispy, and he's getting the opportunity. 6 receptions for 78 yards and a receiving touchdown. 4 rushing attempts for 18 yards. He's obviously not in there to be the bell cow back. That's what Derrick Henry's for. But he is their Swiss Army knife. He can run the ball. He's really good at running the ball. But his receiving game he's probably one of the better receiving running backs in the league. Honestly, like
he looks better than ever too.
Yeah,
like he looks really good. All of a sudden, John Harbaugh talking about how he thinks that Justice Hill is an RB1. Like all of that talk is making sense now.
Yeah,
and
it's frustrating to have pieces of the receiving core of the Ravens, but
yeah,
all of us were talking about how good the RPO is going to look. So I don't know why we're all surprised that it looks as good as it does. But my God, how do you stop Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry right now? You can't pick one to key in on. They load the box and it still does not matter. These guys are running all over everybody. So
And hats off to John Harbaugh. Like, that offensive line with all those new guys was looking so rough in the first couple of games, and the dude always figures it out.
Yeah.
Like, they looked great in this game. Let's see. Yeah, and their defense, like, this was just like, you could see the frustration. The Bills could not get anything going. Josh Allen, 16 of 29 for 180 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions.
Yeah.
Like, and that's wild. Lamar Jackson, 13 of 18, just 13 pass attempts, and they put up 35 points.
Yeah.
2 passing touchdowns, 1 to Henry. You got to be happy for Derrick Henry, man. He's finally on a team that has, man. I mean, like, the Titans had their moments, you know, where they went deep into the playoffs, but he's got like a legit, like, juggernaut, you know, to be a part of now.
I'm so pissed at the Cowboys. I'm like,
for not
even trying. Yeah, he's like, I would have loved it. Yeah, he wanted to come to Dallas, and they just didn't call him. Yeah, it looks like he's meant to be a Raven, though. I mean, it's awesome seeing him there. He's just, you know, he's got the dark uniform on now. He's in his Darth Vader era right now, so he's just taking souls out there. The guy has just got the nastiest stiff arm I've ever seen.
Absolutely. And, you know, like, again, the pass catchers, this is not going to get better anytime soon unless they're playing from behind, because they don't need to. They don't, like, their approach with this heavy run game is perfect. For them to go win games.
Let's move on to the Monday slate, because I want to talk about how bad the Dolphins looked last night. I mean, I don't know if we were all a little
hilarious game.
Yeah, I don't know if we were all early on the Mike McDaniels thing. But my God, his play calling looks so bad. I know their team is beat up, but you have way too much talent on offense to have your offense looking like that, man. There's no excuse for that, like, at all. You got to figure it out.
And it goes beyond the play calling too. It's like they need some leadership to right the ship as far as chemistry goes, because Tyreek Hill, I ended up starting JSN over Tyreek last night because I was thinking, like, they got to get Tyreek the ball. I was going to start Tyreek. I had a close matchup because I put Michael Wilson in over those other guys. So I was in like a really close battle in Dynasty, and I'm already 1-2. So I was like, I can't go to 1-3. But all of a sudden I started to think about, like, this is Tyler Huntley's first game. Like, and I think Tyler Huntley will be better for them moving forward, but it's going to take some time to be able to run that offense. That's why Tua is so valuable to them, because not everyone can do what Mike McDaniel wants them to do. But things will get better if they keep, you know, I'd say give him a couple of games to really get to know how to run this offense. But Huntley's got the rush threat, 8 carries, 40 yards, and a touchdown. But Tyreek Hill, man, he had that one, like, that one, like, little, like, lateral pass where he could have clearly got it, and he just, like, tips it and it ends up being a fumble, you know? Like, Tyreek just looked like he was checked out. Like, Tyreek looks like he's unhappy.
Well, and he had, like, 2 plays where he should have absolutely been in the end zone. So it was rough. He got underthrown on one. That's just the territory that comes with bringing in a new quarterback, though. Your timing's not going to be there. And how do you get the timing down with a guy that fast? So it's just really tough for Tyler Huntley. So you can't really blame him, but he had Tyreek Hill wide open twice. He had him on a deep ball at the end of the game. He could have easily walked in for a touchdown. He had him on that one where he had to come back for it and ended up having to jump in the air to try to grab it. And that was he had the guy burned. So really frustrating. I get it for Tyreek Hill where his frustration is coming from, but walking up and down the sideline, screaming and cussing at everybody's not going to help your case at all. Will Levis did Will Levis things last night. Came in immediately, threw a pick right to the defender, and then did a crazy diving somersault out of bounds and ended up hurting himself.
Which
finally.
Was like, it was like, the dude just can't catch a break. Like, because if he wouldn't have gotten hurt and he would have got that first down, everyone would have been, you know, because it looked like
he got it.
Yeah, I thought he got it too, and
like
it looked
way over the stick.
It looked Yeah, I don't know what happened, if they're like, no, the ball crossed out of bounds before he crossed, but they didn't show us like a replay to make it clear. And then let's jump to this game and then do waivers real quick.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, Titans somehow put up 31 when collectively their quarterbacks had what, like 12 completions
Yeah, it
between
was
the two
literally
of them.
just the running backs.
Yeah, man.
Tony Pollard and Spears.
This Seahawks Lions game was absolute fire.
Yeah,
Like,
that's awesome.
the Seahawks look really good. They were missing 5 starters on defense, 4 defensive linemen, and they still Ryan Grubb said, sorry, I got Nat in here. Ryan Grubb said before the game, right before, because I was just like, okay, give me David Montgomery for like daily fantasy. Give me Jahmyr Gibbs. Like they're going to be running the ball. They're going to do the same thing they did to the Arizona Cardinals. Why wouldn't you? And then I heard right before the game, like Ryan Grubb was like, I'm not worried about the guys who are out. Like our guys just need to know what to do and they'll be fine. And the defense looked pretty good, all things considered. I know they put up 42 points, but
yeah.
But yeah, Geno, 38 of 56, 395 yards, a touchdown, and interception. Jared Goff, man, dude caught a pass.
He literally played a perfect game.
Like 18 of 18.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. 292 yards, 2 touchdowns. Went and caught a pass.
Dude, it was just insane.
That was, very impressive.
Honestly, though, in my opinion, the play of the game was David Montgomery on that reception for 40 yards when he trucked that dude down to the ground and ran the ball for 40 yards. That was one of the most Marshawn Lynch-ish type plays I've ever seen in my life. Like, David Montgomery is one of the most exciting running backs to watch in the NFL. The dude is just such a bowling ball.
Yeah, their 1-2 punch between him and Gibbs is just the nastiest duo in the league for sure. This Nat's going to drive me crazy. All right. Kenneth Walker, 12 carries, 80 yards, 3 touchdowns, just beasted.
Yeah.
I was like a little bit nervous first game back going up against the Lions, and 6.7 yards a carry.
4 receptions too.
Yeah, looking great. If he can do that against the Lions, in this Seahawks team on both sides of the ball is looking better every week.
Yeah.
So let's see. DK, 12 targets, 7 receptions, 104 yards. Jackson Smith and Jigba, 12 targets, 8 receptions, 51 yards. I just love to see the usage continuing to go up for JSN, especially when they're playing a pass funnel defense like Detroit. He's going to see more of that. But when teams are not designed that way, that's when it's still going to be a bumpy ride for JSN, because DK just looks so good.
Yeah,
like the dude looks great. Jameson Williams, 2 receptions, 80 yards and a touchdown. That big play at the end was just so awesome.
Yeah, what a perfect ball though, over 2 defenders right into his arms. It's just insane quarterback play from Goff last night.
It was, man. Well done. And then let's see. There wasn't like a whole lot going on for Tim Patrick, but it was so good to see him out there, man. Like 2 targets, 2 receptions, 52 yards. I'm just super happy for the dude with all that he's been through. Injured, and then it's like, okay, now you're on a contender as well. And anyways, we'll keep things rolling here. Was that the last one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's talk waivers real quick, and then I got to roll.
Let's do it.
All right. So we're going to go over to Sleeper, the best fantasy platform by far.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to look at the trending and talk through this. Trey Sermon at the top of the board. If you didn't already have him, if you're a Jonathan Taylor owner and you didn't already have Trey Sermon, like, I feel bad for you. Like, you got to protect yourself. And even just one of those running backs who should get a decent share, even if you don't have Jonathan Taylor, but he's getting added like crazy. He's only 46% rostered. I mean, I get it, but this is also, I'm on the Dynasty setting. So 46% in Dynasty after all that is very shocking to me. Like, you got to protect yourself. And so, but yeah, I would go get him. He'll get a heavy workload. We'll see how things go, but we're probably looking at least 2 games, I would guess. for him to be a starter. Let's see, Kareem Hunt, go get him.
Yeah.
Like he's got at least a few more weeks. Probably when did Pacheco go down in like week 2 or 3?
Yeah,
week 2.
he'll probably be good till about week 8.
Yeah. Yeah,
So.
and I think they went and got someone who can actually be a Pacheco style, like every down back. And Kareem Hunt, I think he's going to be good to go.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to get heavy usage there. And as far as your fab budget, just you kind of got to go with what you're working with. If you have like a decent amount of fab left and you are in a position where you're really hurting at running back, I would spend quite a bit. I would take Kareem Hunt over Trey Sermon.
Mm-hmm.
Justice Hill flying up the board. Yeah, because you don't need Henry to go down for him to be relevant. And I don't think that if Henry were to go down, that Justice Hill will just become a bell cow. I think that I forget their rookie they drafted who's a little bit bigger bodied, but I think if Henry were to go down, Justice Hill will get a bump in usage for sure.
Yep.
But I think that he'll continue to be that passing down back. Dontavian Wicks.
Yeah. Shouldn't even be out there, but
no, but especially in Dynasty, but he is 83% rostered. So it makes sense. Like people knew what he's capable of.
Yeah.
Let's see, Tucker Kraft, solid, if you need a tight end. Joe Flacco, especially if you're playing Superflex, as long as, we'll have to see, I wouldn't go crazy over this, but if you're really desperate at quarterback, Joe Flacco is going to be solid, but it's how long is Anthony Richardson out? Like, we don't know. We have to see what's going on with that. Hopefully it's not a long time. Gosh, I hope it's not a long time, but I'm super comfortable starting Joe Flacco personally. Yeah. He took me all the way to the championship last year with the Browns, and he's going to open up this offense passing game. Justin Fields. Yeah. I don't know why you wouldn't already have him rostered. He is 92% rostered. So we already know Justin Fields is going to be good for fantasy. Tank Bigsby flying up the board, 85% rostered in Dynasty.
Yep.
Yeah. Get on Tank now, because the writing's on the wall. He looks so much better than ETN.
Oh yeah.
And you don't want to have to go try to get him once he has his major breakout game, which I think is coming real soon.
Yeah.
I think before the end of the year, Tank Bigsby will be jumping up into that low RB1, usage.
For sure.
But Josh Downs, as long as Flacco's in there, Josh Downs is going to be great. 93% rostered. People already know, but it's just Anthony Richardson can't distribute like Joe Flacco yet. He needs, like, he's still, like, we talk about it every week. He's only played like 19 or 20 career games as a starter, even through college. So he's just this athletic freak with a lot of promise and a crazy arm, but he needs to develop his accuracy and his decision making quite a bit still. It's pretty evident.
Yeah.
Kate Otten trending. Did he have a good week? Yeah. 6 receptions, 52 yards, 9 targets. Yeah. He's going to be, Kate Otten's going to be frustrating. He's not going to be an every week, hit. The Seahawks defense. This is what's interesting is, like, if you watch that game, they looked really good with missing a bunch of starters. Yeah, they only scored 1 point for fantasy, but I get why they're trending. Yeah. Obviously, you're not throwing a ton of your budget at a defense anyways, but Trey Tucker, I just think that his big game is coming. Against Carolina, he went for 22.6 points, 9 targets, 7 receptions, 96 yards, and a touchdown. This dude's athletic. He's fast. I think he's someone, especially for Dynasty, I would like to go get, because I think his time is coming. We'll just have to see, like, how long Devontae's out and how long Devontae is on the Raiders.
Yeah.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire is trending.
Yeah, he returned to practice.
Yeah, he has. I'm just not that interested after what happened with Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, I think he'll kind of get worked in a little bit, but I think it's gonna be Kareem Hunt for sure.
He'll be the definitive RB2 right out of the gates.
Yeah,
and we might see a timeshare a little bit, but if something were to happen to Kareem Hunt, I think CEH should be next man up as long as his mental game is in order now.
yeah.
Let's see, Geno, he should have already been rostered.
Yeah.
So if Geno's on your waiver wire for some reason and you've got room on your bench, like depending on how deep you're, yeah, write him back. Zach Ertz, just a solid week in, week out tight end. He's not having these big boom games, but he's got a pretty consistent floor. And you just want pieces of this Washington offense right now. And he does clearly look better than Ben Sinnott right now.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just like, beforehand, I was like, are we really doing this Zach Ertz thing again? But he has a lot of rapport with Cliff Kingsbury. He knows this offense. So, and he doesn't look that bad. We're thinking age wise, it's like, what are we doing here? But honestly, I think things are just going to get better for Zach Ertz unless he gets injured. But because Ben Sinnott does look like he needs to develop. He's got all of the upside. I love him as a prospect, but he just needs to learn the offense more and whatnot. Broncos defense, I would go snag them.
Yeah.
Don't like kill your fab budget for a defense. Don't ever do that. But man, they look so good. And so in our league, we actually still use defense and kickers. I don't like this trend of let's get rid of kickers. And then that you guys talking about, let's get rid of the tight end position. Like, dude, you guys just want to do quarterbacks only?
Yeah.
What are we doing here? I love football. Look what the kickers have done this year.
Yeah.
Kickers have been very relevant. It's fun.
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift trending. He's 99% rostered. He's available. Go get him. He had a great game. Let's see. Cortland Sutton. Cortland Sutton's getting the usage, but I'm not it's not like he's in a situation where it's like something happened, he's about to break out. It's like we're seeing what Cortland Sutton is going to be doing, but maybe as Bo Nix, continues to evolve, get better. Rico Dowdle trending again. Yeah, it's still, there's not a high ceiling here with any of these running backs.
I was just cracking up because I was like, wait, Chase McLaughlin. But I was thinking of Jaleel McLaughlin. Chase McLaughlin is a Tampa Bay kicker. That's funny they shared the last name.
Yeah. Jordan Addison trending, obviously Dynasty. Let me jump over. I'm going to jump over to a redraft trending. Let's see his percentage here. Okay, 83% rostered. If Jordan Addison is on your waiver wire for some reason, I would go drop a big chunk of your fab to get him.
Yeah.
He should not be on there. Not that's kind of all of the big names that I'm seeing. Not really too much more to cover here. A lot of these guys are already should be heavily rostered. I would say priorities this week.
Trey Sermon,
obviously, especially if you're a JT owner, but I think the top priority might be Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, and Justice Hill for some reason, if he's still out there.
Yeah, Justice Hill. Things can only get better for him, in my opinion, because in games where they're down, if he's doing this in games where they're dominating, games where they're down, he's just going to get more pass work.
Yeah.
But yeah, between Trey Sermon, if you're not in a position where like I just, the other thing is like Jonathan Taylor, he's not going to IR. We don't know how many weeks it's going to be that he's going to be out. And we've got like questions at the quarterback position. Like Kareem Hunt is going to be the RB1 for the Kansas City Chiefs, you know, and he's clearly got that job, and you're waiting for Pacheco to get back and be healthy.
Yeah.
So to me, the priority would be Kareem Hunt this week. Dontavian Wicks, I love that pick too.
Yeah.
So yeah, Dontavian Wicks, I love that. I would say for me, yeah, like Trey Sermon, Kareem Hunt, and Dontavian Wicks are the big names. Justice Hill, absolutely. Like those four are who we're swinging for this week.
Yeah.
I actually got to wrap up though, guys. We really appreciate you just checking out the show. It's kind of a bummer because there was so much more about the recap that we would love to go through, but we will be talking a little bit more about what's to come on our Thursday episode with our starts of the week. And then tomorrow night, we will be dropping our picks video for Thursday Night Football. So make sure you're subscribed, and yeah, give us a like if you enjoy the content. Good luck. And if you have any questions about anything fantasy related, we're pretty good about getting back to everybody. So just drop it in the comments and we will hit you back. We were doing some start sit questions in the comments yesterday, and thankfully, I think that the decisions I helped the dude make were right. So like, hopefully that worked out. It seemed like they did. He was in a similar position with like who to start, JSN. And I think he was asking about like Texans defense or Seattle defense. And I told him Texans, cause I just thought that the Dolphins were still going to have a rough outing, but yeah, just drop us a comment if you have any questions, and we will try to get back to you as soon as we can. But yeah, that's going to do it. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you in the next video.
Good luck, guys.
Thanks for watching this episode of the Backdoor Fantasy Sports Podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop us a comment. You can also find us on all platforms at Backdoor FS.